This is the story of Angela Marisol Diaz. It is a story of a young woman in her early 20s from Houston, whose disappearance in the summer of 2024 set in motion one of the most heartbreaking investigations in recent memory. It is the story of a family's relentless search, of unanswered questions, of legal charges that only partly address what happened, of the eventual discovery of her remains, and of an investigation that continues today. In this video, we will walk carefully through Angela's life, her final known days, the investigation into her disappearance, the discovery of her remains, the ongoing case, and the lingering questions that still weigh heavily on those who loved her. Angela Marisol Diaz, known to those close to her as Marisol, was born into a family that deeply cherished her. Her father Edward, her mother Juana, her sister Sorangely, her grandmother, extended relatives knew her as someone who was vibrant, warm, and full of laughter. She was the kind of young woman whose presence could light up a room, who made gatherings feel incomplete if she wasn't there. Her sister has shared memories of how every moment with her seemed to be filled with laughter. Angela was fun-loving, kind, and always able to connect with those around her. She was just 22 years old, still on the path of discovery, still forming her plans, her goals, her place in life. Like many young people, she was balancing challenges, making choices, navigating relationships, and trying to secure stability for herself. She had dreams. She had talked with her sister about traveling to the Dominican Republic, a trip they both longed to take. She enjoyed family time. She was known to friends for her outgoing personality, and she loved those closest to her with sincerity. But behind that joy was also a struggle. Angela's life, as later confirmed through court filings and investigative documents, had been drawn into a dangerous environment. She was associated with a man named Krystephor Karvon Brown, her boyfriend at the time, who would later be charged with promotion of paid companionship in connection with Angela. Evidence collected through phone data and undercover operations suggested that Angela was not simply choosing independent escort activities, but rather being directed and controlled in ways that raised serious concerns of manipulation. The circumstances leading to her disappearance began in the final days of June 2024. On June 30th, Angela was in touch with family, speaking with her grandmother and her sister. These conversations gave no immediate sense of alarm. The family did not expect that within hours she would vanish. That evening, she was with her boyfriend, Brown. According to his account, he drove her to the Moonlight Inn and Suites, a motel located along the Gulf Freeway in Houston. He claimed that she was meeting a man, later identified as Justin Alexander Scarborough, who had met for a paid encounter. Brown said he dropped her off around 11:30 that night and then left. What happened after that moment is where the story becomes filled with contradictions and mystery. According to phone records, Angela's cell phone remained active after midnight, around 4 o'clock in the morning. The phone pinged near a wooded area behind a gym along Interstate 10, miles away from the motel where Brown said he had left her. At approximately 5:21 a.m., the phone registered again, this time near Houston's Greater Fifth Ward, a neighborhood northeast of downtown. After that, there was nothing. The phone went dark. Angela never contacted her family again. Her family was alarmed almost immediately. Angela was known to be in constant communication with loved ones. She did not simply disappear without calling or texting. When she failed to show up or respond, her sister and father began calling, messaging, trying to locate her. Days turned into weeks with no word, and the family officially filed a missing persons report. As the family searched, pieces of information slowly began to emerge. Houston police confirmed they were investigating. The Special Investigations Unit was involved. An undercover operation prior to Angela's disappearance had uncovered online advertisements, the phone numbers linked to Angela that offered paid services. Officers posing as buyers met Angela at a hotel. Records showed that she was being driven by Brown, that he waited outside while she met men, and that he directed her pricing and appointments. Angela reportedly told investigators that she was pressured, that she did not want to travel to some locations, that she was told she had to earn certain amounts. Her phone records corroborated that Brown was actively arranging her meetings. This context changed the way investigators and her family viewed the disappearance. She was not simply a missing young adult. she was a possible victim of manipulation, someone under coercion, and someone who may have been vulnerable to manipulation by people with far greater control. By late 2024, a warrant was issued for Brown. He was arrested for taking advantage of Angela. Court documents showed his role as the one who set up her encounters, transported her, and profited from her work. His bond was set at $50,000, and he was released after posting it. The charge, however, did not directly address Angela's disappearance or what ultimately happened to her. For her family, this was deeply frustrating. They wanted to know where she was. They wanted accountability not only for manipulation but also for her vanishing. The other man tied to that night, Justin Alexander Scarborough, admitted to arranging to pay Angela, but denied any role in her disappearance. He has his own criminal record, including violent offenses, but has not been charged in her disappearance or death. Through the fall and winter, Angela's family searched tirelessly. They posted flyers, contacted media, reached out to organizations like Texas Center for the Missing and Texas EquiSearch. They held on to hope that Angela might be alive, that she might be found, that she might be rescued from whatever situation she was trapped in. In March 2025, nearly 9 months after she vanished, human remains were discovered in a wooded area near Moon Rock Drive and Bay Area Boulevard in southeast Houston, close to Clear Lake. The remains were skeletal. For months, investigators worked to confirm identity. Finally, in September 2025, DNA testing confirmed what the family feared most. The remains were Angela's. Her family, led by her father Edward, released a statement confirming her death. They described their heartbreak, their sorrow, and their determination to see justice. They asked the community to continue sharing Angela's story, to bring forward any information, to help ensure that whoever was responsible for her disappearance and death would be held accountable. As of the most recent updates, the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences has not released a public cause of death. The investigation remains open. Brown is still charged with promotion of exploitation. No one has been charged directly in connection with Angela's death. The family was finally able to lay Angela to rest September 2025. The family continues to push for answers. They want to know what happened between the moment Angela was dropped off at the motel and the time her phone went dark hours later. They want to know why her remains ended up in southeast Houston, miles from the locations first identified by phone pings. They want to know whether anyone else was involved. The case of Angela Diaz highlights the complexities of investigations where manipulation intersects with disappearance. Victims of manipulation often face stigma, which can slow the urgency of investigations. Families often feel that law enforcement does not take the cases as seriously. Angela's case also shows how difficult it is to move from circumstantial evidence like text messages, phone records, and conflicting statements to charges that can stand in court for disappearance or death. Even with her remains identified, there are more questions than answers. How did Angela die? Was she harmed by someone she trusted? Was she targeted by a client? Did multiple people play a role in her disappearance? Was she moved from one location to another? Did those involved in taking advantage of her also play a role in disposing of her remains? Investigators will likely rely on forensic analysis of the remains. Even when skeletal remains can sometimes reveal signs of trauma, such as fractures or sharp force injuries, toxicology testing is harder in cases of advanced decomposition, but certain chemical traces can still be detected in bone and hair. The environment in which the remains were found, wooded, outdoor, southeast Houston, can complicate determinations, but forensic experts are trained to assess these conditions. The family's pursuit of justice has kept Angela's name in the public eye. Without their determination, her case might have faded like so many others. Their persistence has pressured law enforcement to continue the investigation. Angela's story is not only about one young woman. It is also about the larger issue of manipulation in Houston, one of the busiest targeting hubs in the United States. Her case shows how vulnerable individuals can be coerced into situations that endanger their lives. It raises awareness about how manipulation can mask itself in the appearance of consensual arrangements, when in reality, coercion, control, and threats strip away choice. We have walked through Angela's life and her case. We have revisited her last day, the confusing phone data, the arrest of her boyfriend, the search by her family, the discovery of her remains, and the current open investigation. The conclusion we must face is that Angela is gone, but the full truth of what happened remains out of reach. The legal system has yet to deliver full accountability. The family continues to wait for charges that address her disappearance and death. The cause of death has not been disclosed. The community still has an opportunity to come forward with information. The story of Angela Marisol Diaz is a reminder that behind every case is a person, a family, and a legacy. She was a daughter, a sister, a young woman with dreams. She was someone loved and someone missed. The unanswered questions weigh heavily, but the determination of her family ensures that her name will not be forgotten. This is where her story stands today. The remains are confirmed. The cause of death is pending. Investigation is active. Family continues to call for justice. And the community is urged to share her story so that Angela's life is remembered not only for its tragic end, but for the love and light she brought while she was here. Thank you for watching Fatal Secrets of True Crime. Subscribe for more stories like this, real crimes, hidden truths, and the secrets they tried to bury. Your support helps keep these stories alive and the pressure on for answers. Till next time, remember, every secret eventually comes to light.